This lesson is called Rounding to Any Place. Go ahead and pause the video and title your next input page with these words, rounding to any place. Pause now and hit play when you've written it. Use rounding when the question asks you to estimate. When the question asks, about how many? When an exact answer isn't possible, or when an answer is difficult to obtain. There's a helpful little poem that helps when you're rounding. If you memorize it, math might be a little bit easier for this skill. The poem goes like this. Find your number, look right next door. 4 or less, just ignore. 5 or more, add 1 more. Pause the video and write this in your notes in the input side of your journal. Let's say a problem asks you to round the number to the nearest 10,000. First, you need to find your number. Since you're all so good at place value, this should be easy. The 6 is in the 10,000s place, so circle the number in the 10,000s place. Next, you're going to look right next door. You circled the 6, that's where you're rounding, so draw an arrow to the right of that number. If you see, now we're looking at the 8 that's next door to the 6. If I'm rounding the number to the nearest 10,000, I think of that poem. 4 or less, just ignore. Well, the 8 is larger than 4, so if I go to the next line of the poem, do you remember what it says? That's right. The next line says 5 or more, add 1 more. Since 8 is bigger than 5, we're adding 1 to the circled 6. If I add a 1 to that 6, the digit becomes a 7, and all the numbers to the right of that 7 become zeros. Don't forget the 3 that came before it, though. So 368,971 rounded to the nearest 10,000 is 370,000. All right, let's see another example. This says to round the number to the nearest 1,000. So first, I'm going to circle the number in the thousands place. That's why I've circled this 5. Next, I'm going to look right next door. So you can see I've drawn an arrow to the 3 that's right next door of the 5. That's the one I have to look at to see what's going to happen to my rounded number. If you think back to the poem, 4 or less, just ignore. Since the 3 is less than 4, we can just ignore it. We don't have to change our 5 at all. The 5 stays the same. But don't forget, all the digits after the 5 turn to zeros. So the answer, 35,327 rounded to the nearest 1,000, is 35,000. Here's an example you're going to write in your journal. First, write the directions. Round this number to the nearest 1,000. Then, write your number underneath. The number is 368,971. Go ahead and pause the video to write the directions and the number. Now that you have the number written in your notes, since we're rounding to the thousands place, locate the digit in the thousands place and circle it. That means our 8 should be circled. Now, we need to be drawing an arrow to locate our number next door. Our number next door is a 9. Thinking of the poem, 5 or more, add 1 more. My 8 is going to turn to a 9 because I'm adding 1 to it. All the digits before it stay the same. And all the digits after it change to a 0. Go ahead and pause the video and write down what I've written down here. Make sure you include adding the 1, make sure you have an arrow, and make sure you have the final rounded number. Go ahead and pause it. Here's one for you to try on your own in your notes. round this number to the nearest 100. Start by writing the number and circling the digit in the hundreds place. Then pause the video and solve it on your own. Start again when you're ready to check the answer. Well, how'd you do? Did you get 576,900? Here's one last example. I'm going to work it out for you. You don't need to write anything for this one unless you want to. The directions tell me to round the number to the nearest 100,000. So I have to see what I need to do. I've gone ahead and located the 100,000s place, and I've circled the digit. That's my 5. Now I draw an arrow next door. I'm looking at a 7. A 7 is 5 or more, so I'm adding 1 more to my circled number. 5 plus 1 equals 6. And if you remember, everything behind the rounded number, all those digits turn to zeros. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers behind my rounded number. So I'm going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. 576,932 rounds to 600,000. I hope this makes rounding a little more clear for you. Now you're going to go back and practice some problems. Good luck!